he does not show any signs whatsoever of cheating. Thank God for that. If he ever does, he already knows something coming for him. But no, do men cheat? I want to hear from you. So the reason why we're going to bring up this topic today is I think you all might have seen the viral video going around. Our good sis, our forever young sis, Nia Long, sat down with the rapper and entrepreneur Jeezy, and they had a candid conversation just about his life. And we all know that he's currently in the midst of getting a divorce from Jeannie Mai. And so he made a comment during this interview that said, real men don't cheat. Real men don't cheat. Okay, so apparently men cheat, right? We know men cheat. But according to Jeezy, real men don't cheat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just read a little bit about what he shared on this topic so we can kind of get into it a little bit more. So midway through the 1 hour conversation, I'm reading from Complex Magazine, you all. Midway through the 1 hour conversation, Nia Long subliminally referenced her split from Houston Rockets head coach, who was suspended and later let go by the Boston Celtics after having an improper relationship with a female Celtics staff member. Around the 33-minute mark of her conversation with Jeezy, Nia Long reflected on the ordeal, saying that cheating is usually not about another person, an affair, or some chick that's willing. I'm sorry. Let me say that again. Long reflected on the ordeal, saying that cheating is usually not about another person, an affair, or some chick that's willing to make you feel like a king. In response, Jeezy declared that real don't cheat. Y'all can fill in the blank. Long agreed with the rapper, who added, there's something in us that makes us want to be right across the board. When asking Jeezy to clarify if he wants to be honorable to himself with the woman that he's with, the artist made his position clear. I want to be honorable and just. Anybody that's real, and when I say real, I mean real with yourself, there's a sense of integrity there, he said. My life is built on integrity. That's my moral compass. If I'm not integral, I'm off. You know what? I love that for him. I love that for Jeezy. Because, at Stepping into Sisterhood this year, one of our sisters, Kelly, talked about people's character, right? And how your character will affect all areas of your life, not just when you are operating in business, not just when you are dealing with, people in the streets or your family, but in all areas of your life. When you have integrity, it shows. And so I agree with Jeezy that real men don't cheat. And dare I say, real women don't cheat either. Anybody who has good character, who has a desire to be a good person in the world and to not be out here hurting other people, there are other options besides cheating. But we not agree. Like if the relationship is no longer working for you, can you not have a conversation? And if that your partner is not willing to adjust their behavior in a way that fits your needs, wants, and desires, can you not just say, okay, I'm good, I'm gone? Like, why do you need to cheat? Why do you need to keep a door open before you decide to close it, right? You can decide to close the door and then go into a new relationship. Why do you need to cheat on your partner? And so I think that, us in relationships, all relationships, one of the things that we definitely need to make sure that we're considering is communication. Communication is key. So if you are in a relationship with someone right now and you're feeling like they're not giving you what you need, but hey, that person at your job, let's talk about that too. I love in the Tyler Perry movie, Why Did I Get Married? You all probably remember the scene when they talked about the 80-20 rule, right? How in a relationship, nobody is usually getting 100% of what they want, right? Usually people are getting about 80% in a good relationship. However, when you're not getting 100%, that 20% could look really good somewhere else, right? Like they say, sometimes the grass looks greener on the other side simply because there's some things that you're not getting on that other side, or this on the current side that you might see on the other side, only to find you get to the other side and realize like that grass ain't even real. That's fake grass. That grass is not even real. You can't do nothing with that grass. And so we want to be making sure that, again, we want to be making sure that we are being mindful of people in relationships. And we want to make sure that we are, again, being a good character. Because I'm one of those people who do believe that what goes around absolutely comes around, right? If you don't want to be cheated on, it'd be probably best in your best interest not to cheat on somebody else. Because a lot of people in life are currently going through that right now, feeling like, oh, they may have been that person out there cheating, and then they find the person they feel like is the one, and then all of a sudden that person cheats on them and their heart is broken. So let's just all try to be good people. I want to ask Nelson, since Nelson is sitting here right now, he is a man. Nelson, do all men cheat?
Man, you put me on the spot.
Sorry about that.
No, all men does not cheat. Now, would I say men have wandering eyes? I would say yes, but does it depends on if the woman consider that's cheating. But to be on a broad, no, all men don't cheat.
Okay, that's good. So I like that. All right, ladies. So I love that Nelson mentioned that wandering eye does not make a man a cheater. We're going to talk about what the real red flags are, right? When it comes to cheating, the things that you do need to look out for. And that might not just be that, okay, you all went out to eat and maybe the waitress, she was pretty and maybe he was being a little too friendly. That might not be a sign of cheating, sis. It might just mean that he finds her attractive. And it's okay because we're all beautiful out here in the world. None of us are blind. And if we're honest with ourselves, we all get on these social media streets and talk about how fine Michael B. Jordan is, right? We all get in these social media streets and talk about how fine Idris Elba is. Okay, so let's not be too hard on the brothers when they are admiring women who are beautiful as well. This is such a good topic. We're gonna again get into these red flags of cheating right after we come back from this quick music break. Hey sis, hey, we are back. You are tuned into 101 TKO Radio, and this is the She Win Show with your favorite coach, Andromeda. So when we left off before the music break, we were talking about do all men cheat? And I see that y'all are listening today, so I want to say thank you for tuning in. Thank you for staying with me. And so I want to hear from you though. Again, the lines are open. Do all men cheat? What's your perspective on this topic? 678-439-7419 is how you call in and contribute to the conversation. Do all men cheat? So before we left off, Nelson said, no, all men do not cheat. I agree, all men do not cheat. I do think that, of course, there's exceptions to all rules, right? There are cheaters in life, there are not cheaters in life, right? So these are some ways that you can look into, or rather, know the red flags if somebody is a cheater, if they are cheating, right? So I'm going to read this from Prevention. It's 19 warning signs your partner is cheating on you, according to therapists. So I really think that this is an awesome article, simply because therapists are weighing in on this. So you know these are really some ways that you can kind of keep your eye out. They're suddenly unreachable. That's one of the ways that you can. That's a red flag, rather. Doesn't these? And again, when I say these things, these don't apply to all circumstances, right? I don't want anybody to like get all upset and get angry and start making assumptions just because I mentioned something here that sounds like your situation. But if a lot of these sound like your situation, this might be something for you to look into. So they're suddenly unreachable. And it says that cheaters need privacy and blocks of uninterrupted time. I know some sisters listening to this right now, like saying, I know that to be true because he went missing. I couldn't call him for 3 hours. Then he showed up at my door and made up some excuse about the fact that he got kidnapped by aliens and they just dropped him up back at the doorstep. Sis, he was cheating. He was cheating, sis. If he said he got abducted and they returned him 3 hours later, he was cheating, sis. Okay, so if they go missing, okay, for blocks of time, and this type of thing happens on a pretty regular basis, that's because he can't let the side chick know. Or I'm not even. Sometimes it's not a side chick. Sometimes you are the side chick. Ooh, I know that's hard to say. Sometimes it's the mistress, whatever. The other girl can't know he's living double lives. And so while he's over there with her, he can't let that phone ring. He can't let that text message come through. He can't risk it. So cheaters need privacy and blocks of uninterrupted time. They don't want to risk you hearing suspicious voices or background voices, right? Also, their schedule changes with no good explanation. It says most people have predictable schedules, and even if their schedule changes, there's usually a reason that makes sense. Someone who must work late all of a sudden at times that go beyond a reasonable explanation may be cheating. That's especially true if this keeps happening when your partner has no new job, promotion, or project that they're working on. So, Nelson want to weigh in.
I want to weigh on that.
Okay.
So then that's telling me that, for every thing related to your job, you need to let your significant other know if there's any type of change. I mean, that's a little bit too much of a reasonable. Now, I get what you're saying, but so that means every time, they changed my break, I got to tell you.
Yeah, no, I don't. So here's where I think that might be necessary to be mentioned. If every time that you're on break, y'all are going to have a conversation, like if that's y'all thing, that y'all are going to call every time that the person is on break, then yeah, I think that's a fair communication to have, to be like, hey, I'm not going to have break today at this time because something else is happening. Don't call me. I'm not going to be available. Because I mean, for two reasons. Not even that a person might be worried about if you're cheating, but they might just literally be worried about you. Like, hey, but we're used to talking around this time, and now you're missing. Like, are you okay? Are you alive? Did you get in the car wreck? Like, these are real things. So I think that in moments like that, if it's a ritual that you all have to meet up or talk at a certain time, I do think it's fair to communicate if something has changed.
Okay, I can agree on that.
Okay, good. But other than that, no. I mean, listen. I have been married, again, I've said this on several shows. I've been married for 10 years. I've been with the same man for 20 years. And I am not clocking his time, okay? But we do have some things that we do to just kind of keep each other in the know of our schedule. So like when I'm leaving the house, I'll let him know, right? When he's on the way home, he'll let me know. So we just do some kind of like regular things to keep up with each other. And then um don't judge us, but we definitely track each other on each other's phones. Now, and I'm gonna tell you why we do this, right? Because again, life be life and things happen. I'm a person who I might let my phone die, real talk. Or he's a mobile mechanic, so he might be working on a car, and heaven forbid something happens to him and I can't reach him. I need to know where he is. So I can say, Siri, where's husband? And Siri will be like, husband is. So, and that just kind of makes us comfortable. But I'm not checking it every time. I'm just literally only checking it when he's been working on the car for 3 hours. I'm calling his phone. He just left it in the car. I can't reach him. And I just want to make sure that the car has not fallen on my husband. Okay. So those are times when we do that. But other than that, I just feel like if you're in a relationship where you trust, you should be in a relationship where you trust the person. Point blank, period. And so no one should have to be checking in every single moment of every single day, every time there's a change in their life, because nobody wants to be in a relationship where they feel like they're not trusted. That's not fun. That's not fun for anybody. Okay. And then their friends don't seem to be as friendly as they used to be. Oh, now this is a good one. This is a good one. So, there are a lot of people have friends who they're with the shenanigans, right? Like they know he ain't no good, or they know she ain't no good, and when you come around, they gonna still smile in your face. They're gonna smile in your face. They're gonna have a good time with you. Hey, girl. But then there are friends that I think maybe their conscience gets to them and they unconsciously start treating you differently when somebody else starts coming around. So the therapists say cheaters tend to be less careful about covering their tracks in front of friends versus you. And of course, people tend to confide in their friends. As a result, there is a good chance your partner's friends may know what's really going on before you do. Those friends may end up feeling uneasy and anxious around you because they know something you don't. So, could that be a red flag? Those friends start acting funny. Nelson, you got something?
No, I don't think it's a red flag, but I agree that especially if they're close, good friends,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to know more than saying the other significant other, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as far as they're feeling uncomfortable, it probably depends on how significant other and the friend are, saying if they're close, not close, like I'm just saying
Mm-hmm.
like good friends or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, then it may feel some type of way, especially like for instance for a guy, they feel like man, saying he got a good girl and he's messing around with her, then he
Mm-hmm.
might feel some type of way. But if you
Mm-hmm.
don't really have no ties to her, we ain't nah.
Yeah, yeah,
At least
that's good.
as a friend, I'm be like, all right, do
Ooh,
you.
okay, okay. So you heard it here from the man's mouth first, right? If he don't know you like that, sis, yeah, he don't have any stake in the game. I don't have no skin in the game. Do you, boo? Do you, bruh? Rather. So listen, I want to say this too. I'm one of those friends that I'm always trying to push my friends to be the best that they can be, right? Um, I am also one of those friends. If I love you, I love you. Now, I'm not going to be out in the streets trying to like down you. I'm not going to tell your guy or your girl that you messing around, but I'm not gonna be with the shenanigans. Meaning I'm not smiling in nobody's face, acting like everything is okay when I know it's not. So you know what? If you're gonna do that, don't do it around me. That's really how I feel about it. If you're going to don't be bringing two different people up in my space that I'm supposed to be acting like I'm cool with. That comes down to what we talked about earlier: integrity, right? Having integrity, making sure that you keep your character well, know that you are good with the Lord. Okay. So I don't want to be part of the shenanigans. All right. And then, oh, this is a good one. They have a decrease or increase in libido. I think most of us probably would say a decrease would make a lot more sense, right? Because if they get it over there, then they probably going to be giving you less over here, right? But it says that it's more common for cheaters to decrease the frequency of sex at home, given that they're getting it elsewhere. But sometimes they try to have sex more at home. Guilt ridden people may increase love making. Some will do so to cover their tracks, but some may do so to satisfy a partner so that the partner will not be seeking sex at a later time when the cheater knows he or she won't be available. Okay. The games. Who has time for these games, y'all? Like, who really has time? That's one thing my husband say all the time. Like, I don't have time. I just simply don't have the time in the day. Like, I'm out here trying to get money. I'm out here trying to take care of my family. I'm out here trying to make time for myself. Like, who has time for all of these games? You know what? I think it goes back to something that me and Nelson were talking about on the last show about how, like, if a woman she's a breadwinner and she's taking care of everything, and the guy is at home feeling comfortable sitting there playing video games all the time. Like, again, what? You have too much time on your hands, bruh. You have too much time on your hands if you can be playing these games. You're not clearly. I just feel like you can't be making enough money. You don't have enough goals. Something is just not right if you have time to be playing these games. So that's another red flag, something to keep your eye out for. Do not assume that just because your sex life is great that he's not cheating, because maybe he's just keeping you complacent. He's making sure that you're satisfied so he can go do what he needs to do. Ooh, that's painful. Matter of fact, it makes me think about our good sis Melody Holt, who is currently getting ready to change her name. We heard Melody Holt and Martell Holt. And I remember when they were going through, this is from Love and Marriage Huntsville. They're on Love and Marriage Huntsville. I remember when they were going through their divorce because he cheated on her. One thing that she said and stuck with me, she said they never had issues in their sex life. Like, there was nothing that made her think that he was out there cheating on her, because they were still doing the do on a regular basis. So don't assume that just because your sex life is still good that he's not finding it somewhere else. And again, I want to go full disclaimer here. I'm not trying to mess up nobody's happy home, nobody's happy relationship. I'm not trying to make anybody paranoid, but we do know that while there are sisters who have their eyes wide open, we got sisters walking around here with their eyes just cemented shut. Okay, like, sis, can you see it like we see it? Hello. Open up your eyes, because all the signs are there. All the red flags are there. Okay? And we want you to be safe. We want you to be healthy. We want you to be happy. Okay? Another red flag is they're suddenly paying more attention to their appearance. Okay, so I think we've probably seen this in some movie somewhere, especially when we talk about some of these men who reach these middle-age crisis moments in their life. All of a sudden, now they're working out at the gym, they're buying a new car, they're making sure that they got they're dyeing their hair where they didn't before, or they're getting them a new piece up there to cover some of that baldness, whatever it might be. All of a sudden, they're trying to look younger, be fitter. That might be a sign that they are cheating. Nelson, what you got?
Maybe they're trying to, impress you. Because if that's how, you met them in the beginning, then, as time goes on, people, to fall off. And maybe they just like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do this for her. And not tell you, but just start making those things. So.
Y'all hear Nelson is playing devil's advocate for the men today, and I appreciate it though, because the men do need to be spoken up for. This is true. That is a good perspective to have, sis. Do not assume that just because he's trying to take better care of himself that he's doing it for another woman. He might be doing it for you, and he might just be doing it for himself, right? We hope that the person that we're with wakes up every day of their life and says, what can I do better today? How can I be better today? How can I feel better today? So maybe that changed when they had a come to Jesus moment.
Hey, they may be working out to, to be healthier so they can live longer for you,
Yes, I love the perspective. And I really do love the perspective, because again, it's always two perspectives. Everything is not always black and white. It's not always cut and dry. Sometimes something can look like something and be totally different. So again, we just want to be aware of the things to look for, but also not be walking around here making assumptions. If you don't have proof, sis, don't be slashing no tires, please. Okay, do not go to jail trying to get back at somebody for cheating, whether they are actually, because it's not even worth it. All right. And then also their phone habits change. Ooh, these phones be getting us in trouble, don't they? These phones get us in big, big, big trouble. So It says this can include a range of things like changing their password or keeping their phone on them all the time when they used to leave it sitting out. Right? Every time you see them, they turn their phone upside down, right? Don't look at that screen. Don't want to see no text messages coming in. Don't want to be in a room when they sending these text messages out, right? Every time they get a phone call, they gotta step outside. Ooh, I know. Listen, I'm sorry for anybody who I'm putting on blast today. But we need to be looking out for these things as well. Every time they come around you, their phone is somewhere else. It's nowhere near you. You don't see them on it. You don't see them texting nobody. You don't. They don't want you to look at it. Okay. It also can include suspicious social media behaviors like following provocative accounts or people they don't know or engaging with suggestive posts. While these behaviors may be a warning sign of cheating, it is also behavior that falls into a gray area of infidelity in itself and one that sometimes becomes a slippery slope that leads to an affair. If you mention your concerns to your partner and they belittle you or tell you that you're being too sensitive, this is a red flag. They don't respect you and will likely keep doing these behaviors. Okay, y'all. So again, just keep your eye out. I just want you to be aware. Oh, and this is this these okay, so I'm gonna go through these other, there's quite a few actually. So what I want you to do though is know that this article is entitled 19 Warning Signs Your Partner is Cheating on You According to Therapists. And it's on prevention.com if you would like to read more in depth about all of these different warning signs. I'm not going to go into all of them, but I do want to mention that they say they don't speak about your future together anymore. That's something to keep your eye out for. If, at one point they were talking about marriage or kids or moving in or whatever, and now they can't see a future with you anymore, that's a sign that something has changed. They become emotionally unavailable. If they once shared their emotions, thoughts, and feelings with you at length, but has suddenly stopped, or is offering empty answers when you ask how they are, it could be the idea that it could be an idea to put your feelings out for more signs on this list. So I want to say too, and again, advocating for the men today. This one here, they become emotionally unavailable. Sometimes it don't have anything to do with cheating. If we're being real, people are going through things in life, and especially men. We don't always offer them the space and the opportunity to be open about their feelings. A lot of men are suffering in silence when it comes to depression, when it comes to difficulties just in life, and they don't. Men, a lot of men don't talk about their feelings. So if they were once more open with you, and they've become shut down, it might not be that they're cheating. It might just be that they don't know how to communicate what they're feeling, or they don't want to seem weak, whatever the case may be. So also, sometimes you just need to love him a little bit more. Nelson?
No, I agree with that because I think a lot of men don't really open up. Even though they can love a woman to death, but sometimes that expressing that or showing, what I'm saying, I don't think, being more vulnerable. I think so that's overall. I think a lot of us men don't do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I do also want to encourage any men that are listening, or if you are a woman who has men, I mean, a brother, a daddy, whatever you got in your life, a friend, love on him and also do your best to create space for him to understand that it is okay for him to talk to you or others. And if he can't do that, therapy is available. Okay, we're going to take a quick music break. Thank you again for tuning in with us today. This is 101 TKO Radio, the She Wins radio show. We are back. You are tuned into 101 TKO Radio, and this is the She Wins Show. Hey, hey, with your favorite coach, Andromeda. In case you didn't know, I am coming to you live every Tuesday and Thursday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And we're going to keep bringing you information, inspiration, entertainment, and the game plan to win in life and business. So before we left off, we were talking about the signs, the red flags, the warning signs that a man is cheating. And the last thing I wanted to leave off with is that it says to listen to your gut. You have a gut feeling. That's the last thing I'm going to leave you with, because that's the thing about our guts, right? Like they say, energy does not lie, right? Like sometimes we just know. We don't need to have any proof. We don't need to see the writing on the wall. We just have a feeling that lets us know something is not right here. We need to move out of this space. And this applies to all areas of our lives, right? Whether we are, pulling up to a gas station at night. We see the scary movies when we listen, a person pulls up to that dark place or to that strange place, and all the things are just like, this is weird, this is sketchy, don't do it. And they do it anyway. And the next thing they know, they're dealing with an ex-murderer. So listen, trust your gut, listen to yourself. You know the answers deep down, you know the way, sis. So whether it be you trying to figure out if the relationship that you're in is a healthy and sustainable one, or whether you're trying to figure out if it's time for you to move on from the job that you're currently at, or whether you're trying to figure out whether you need to move from the city that you're in, or whatever it is. I just want to encourage us to listen to ourselves. Women, God has given us this beautiful gift of intuition. It's just something that we have. We don't always understand it. We don't always have proof behind it, but we just know what we know, right? And so when you have that gut feeling that something is not right, sis, go ahead and move. Go ahead and move. And God will confirm for you later on why that move was necessary. I shared testimonies on Tuesday. I'm not going to do it today. But I can tell you that there have been several moments in my life where something in my spirit said, move. You can't stay here. You can't stay around these people. And I didn't know why I needed to move. I didn't know what was going to be the consequences of me making that decision, but I just chose to be obedient. And then down the line, there was something that showed me exactly why God told me to get out the way, because I was about to get hit or hurt by some nonsense. Okay, so let's keep this conversation going though about red flags, you all. We talked about cheating red flags. Now let's talk about scammer red flags. I think that there's a new scam created every day, especially with social media, right? Like people are getting really creative with these scams. I share with you all that one of my guilty pleasures is definitely sometimes having my messy moments going in the shade room and reading the different comments. The comment section is really what I'm going there for. And just kind of seeing how people think and how they respond to certain things is very interesting. I think it's a part of me that really just likes to see how people work and see how people think, which is also why I'm very interested in like a lot of crime documentaries and true crime TV, and documentaries about cults, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. But one thing I also like to watch is Dr. Phil. And there are several episodes where Dr. Phil will have these people on his show and they are being scammed out of millions of dollars. Usually it's some type of love scam, right? They found this person online and they've never met them in person. However, the person is love bombing them over the phone or through email, and they just are so enamored with this person and how sweet they talk to them. And next thing you know, they are sending them their whole life savings and selling their home in order to get this person from wherever they are overseas to come to the United States. So I think we've seen those type of scams. And again, a lot of us, we watch these things on TV or we hear these stories in the news and we say, not me. Like I would never fall for something so silly as that. However, I want to say that a lot of people who are scammed, they are always just people who are naive, who are like lost to the world, who are not educated. These are educated people who sometimes get scammed. And sometimes people are scammed because they're just in vulnerable positions in their life, right? They know better, but their emotions are just kind of, calling for something. They're lonely and they want to be loved. They are lonely and they want to be seen. They feel like, this person has come into their life and they're the only person that can relate to them. So sometimes it's just an emotional thing, a vulnerably emotional moment in a person's life that causes them to fall for things that they would not usually fall for if they weren't in those moments. So we want to talk about some scam red flags. And I think this time of year is definitely a time of year when we see the scammers they really start to ramp up around this time of year. And so some things that you can look for. This is from the Georgia Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division. Shout out to Georgia. As you all may know, that we are in Georgia. 101 TKO Radio is based in Stonecrest, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. We are in Stonecrest Mall, and we are doing big things here. So if you are ever in Georgia, make sure that you come and check out Privy. It's an awesome, awesome, awesome place for Black professionals to visit. So here are some red flags for you to look out for when it comes to a scam. Being asked to pay money in order to receive a prize or get a job. Listen, how many of us have received that email like, hey, you have won, or you have I don't know, something that's related to the fact that you can get some hundreds of thousands of dollars, but we need you to send X amount of dollars first in order for you to claim this prize. Yeah, that's junk, sis. Don't fall for it. It's not real. And again, I think that times like this, when people are feeling more strained when it comes to their pocketbooks, are times when people are more vulnerable to accept or to go for scams. So make sure that you are not. If somebody says that you have to pay them money in order to receive a prize or to get a job, it's a scam. Sis. Don't do it. Pressure to act immediately. You know what? I used to do telemarketing when I was in college, and telemarketing taught me one very specific thing, that when it comes to the sale, I'll back up. When it comes to explaining what the person is going to get, especially the highlights of that, you talk slow, you talk clearly. When it comes to you trying to close the sale and mention some of those, fine print things, like if you don't cancel by a certain date, you're going to get charged $1,000. You talk fast and you talk lower. So here's the thing when it comes to scams like that. If somebody is pressuring you, telling you you have to respond right now. You can't think about it. You can't take a moment to talk to your partner about it. It's a right now and now or never situation. It's probably a scam, sis. Because anytime that somebody is requiring you to spend, especially a good chunk of your money, or to sign up for something and put your name on a contract, you want to be making sure that you're taking time to really think about the decision that you're making, right? And also read the fine print of what you are signing up for. So many of us are getting caught up in things because we are not reading the fine print. And I say, obviously, so a lot of these corporations, they set us up for failure. How many of us, every time there is a Instagram update, or we go to upgrade our phones, or anything that we do most of the time, if we're being honest with ourselves, probably 100% of the time, we are not reading what we are signing. I'm like, we could be signing over our firstborn child. We could be signing over our organs. We really don't know what we are signing. So we want to be making sure that, again, whenever we're making any type of decision for our lives, whether it be financial or otherwise, that we are actually taking time to really pay attention to what it is that we are doing. I had a situation I shared with you all recently, that I moved from Orlando to Atlanta as a result of, one of the things that was the catalyst for me moving here was I was leasing an apartment, and they decided they were going to raise our rent by $300. And so that just kind of set up some, alarm bells for me, like, got to do something different. I need to be moving out of this rental market. And so one of the things, though, is that when I'm still considering, like, should I just stay here one more year? I decided to, allow them to go ahead and send me the lease and look it over. And while it would have been more convenient for me to sign the lease, right? It's just convenient to stay where I am. Nobody likes to move, right? Moving is not fun. Moving is expensive. Even though the rent is going to $300, like I know where I am. I'm mostly comfortable where I am. So I could just go along and go with it. However, Once I got that lease, y'all, and started going through that lease, not only did I see that they were increasing the rent by $300, but they was nickeling and diming me a whole lot of other ways too. Whereas before I was paying $10 a month for trash, now all of a sudden they're saying that all the tenants of the apartment complex are going to be splitting the trash bill. Well, what does that mean? Now I don't even have a set rate. That means you could send me a bill for $100. And what could I say once I signed my name? I signed my name on this thing, right? So again, how many times are we doing that? We're getting these lease renewals, and people are saying, just go ahead and sign it. I remember back in the day when you had to sign a lease, they would at least sit there with you and go through like the high points before you signed it. Now with everything online, it's just you're on your own. And you either have to decide you're going to go through that document and sign it or not. And once they have your name on that, you are in a contract and you are going to be held responsible for the things that are in that contract. So I just really wanted to say that today, y'all. Let's be more careful about what we are signing our names to. Also, scare tactics, telling you a loved one is in danger, that your computer has been hacked, or threatening arrest if you don't know if you don't act now. Rather, listen. You know this makes me think about these telling you that your computer has been hacked or threatening arrest if you don't act now. Makes me think about how a lot of people's Instagrams and social medias are getting hacked these days. How many of us have received that email or that message saying, "Oh, suspicious activity with your account," or you copyright infringement on your social media, and if you don't click this link, then your account is going to be canceled. Since I want to let you know that's a scam. It's a scam, it's a scam, it's a scam, it's a scam. If you get any type of email like that, do not click the link, sis. Now, once you do that, they're going to be able to access your social media, and then now you're not going to have access to it anymore. So don't be clicking any links that you are not sure of where they came from. Also, insistence that you wire money or pay by gift card. Again, when you do that, it's not trackable if you pay by a gift card, right? It's a lot harder to get money back once you've wired it. Also, receiving a check or overpayment and being asked to wire a portion of the funds back. That's a huge scam that we've been hearing about for quite some time. If somebody ever says, I'm going to send you some money, a large sum of money, and I just need you to cash that a check on your bank account and then send me some money, you might be in big, big trouble, sis. Don't do it, because that check bounces. If it's found to be fraudulent, you are going to be on the hook for the money that you sent back. So that's a scam. Also, being asked to provide your password, PIN, social security number, account number, or financial information to someone who contacts you out of the blue. And get rich quick and other promises that sound good to be true, which again takes me back to again social media. So many people with these get rich quick schemes, promises that sound too good to be true. People who are stealing other people's identities on social media, and you're thinking that that's the actual person. Meanwhile, they are just telling you, "Oh, sign up for my class or send me some money, and you're going to be $30,000 richer in 30 days." If it sounds too good to be true, sis, it likely is too good to be true. And if somebody's telling you you can get rich tomorrow, that's also likely a scam. Okay, nobody's getting anything unless they're doing the work to do it. Even the people who play the lottery, those people are dedicated. They fill out their forms, they scratch their tickets, they do the thing on a regular basis, and eventually they win. So I mean, again, there's no work, there's no getting rich quick. You have to do the work. As I say, you have to take the stairs. There is no shortcut to success. So I wanted to share those tips with you, red flags for scammers. We are going to take a quick music and commercial break. We'll be right back to talk about some more red flags. This is 101 TKO Radio, the She Wins Radio Show. apologies. Something is going wrong with our phone lines at this current moment. We are currently trying to get it fixed. So again, my apologies if you have been trying to call in. Shout out to Natalie Lewis for letting us know on social media that she has been trying to call in and the line is busy. But here's what we're going to do in the meantime. While we're trying to get the phones fixed, if you could go to the 101 TKO Radio Facebook page or YouTube and comment anything that you would like to say, that will allow us to engage in conversation that way. Again, I extend my apologies. It's technology, sometimes what can you do? And this is a live show. So please do bear with us. We're going to get it fixed as soon as possible. And we have ways to communicate in the meantime. All right. So let's get back into this conversation, though, about red flags. So I don't know if there's anybody listening right now that is like really into documentaries, specifically like very interesting documentaries, whether it be about crime or like cults, because I am. And so Netflix had me going down a whole rabbit hole yesterday watching the new Escaping Twin Flames documentary. If you are not familiar with this documentary, it is I'm going to read something from Time Magazine. So it is a documentary that is based on Twin Flames universe. As Time calls it, a darkly all-consuming YouTube school that claims to help students find their one true love. And they have had a documentary on them twice in 2023. So this particular documentary, though, from this year on Netflix, or recently rather, that was posted on Netflix, is a 3-part series that takes us into this journey that people go on. And we talked about earlier, when you are lonely, when you are looking for love, sometimes you can find yourself doing some strange things, right? Doing some things that you would not usually and normally do. And so what really got me watching this documentary was that not only did this this cult impact people of the Caucasian persuasion, because I know that sometimes people, especially Black people, we like to think, oh no, I would never be in a cult. That would never be, that's some other people's stuff. And I want to say that this cult did impact people of different cultures and different, a diverse group of people were impacted by this. And I'm not going to call them a cult because I don't listen, I want to get sued. But by this organization, Twin Flames Universe, because they are preying on people who, again, are looking for love. So their whole premise is basically like they help you find your twin flame, your person, the person who is, like your soulmate in the world, your other half. And so what it really comes down to, is that they are really trying to get your money, is what I gained from watching the documentary, is the fact that you have to take all these different classes and you have to participate in all this different coaching and get to all these different levels. And basically, but when it comes down to all of it, most of the people, the majority of the people who are part of this thing never actually ended up being with their twin flames. Actually, I guess the most alarming part of the whole thing is that most of the people who were part of this community were women. Most of them were women. So at some point they said that their twin flame was within this organization. And because their twin flame was within this organization, they had women who identified as straight women, heterosexual women who identified with the pronouns she and her. They had some of these women changing how they identify from she, her to he, him, because they said that there's only divine feminine energy in a relationship and a divine masculine energy in a relationship. So if they paired you up with somebody who was another woman, then either you had to take on the divine feminine or the divine masculine. And if you were the one that was to take on the divine masculine, then all of a sudden they're telling you to cut your hair and change your name and do all these things, even when you have no feeling whatsoever within yourself that you are a different gender. So that was really alarming to me. So again, I just kind of wanted to share this because I think that sometimes in our most vulnerable moments, we can find ourselves going along with things that are not in alignment with who we are, that are not really in alignment with our beliefs and values, simply because we're vulnerable, right? Simply because we're lonely, simply because we have this deep desire and craving for some sort of companionship. And so we can find ourselves in groups and around people who don't have our best interests at heart. And we can find ourselves like throwing our values away, throwing our true feelings aside, throwing away everything that we know to be right and good, throwing that away in order to stay in community with people who we feel like, they're the only ones that we have. And so with that, I wanted to share that what some of the flags are when it comes to cults, right? How to know that you are engaging with a cult, and how to know when somebody is programming you to be a part of a cult. So here are some red flags. High control and demand is one major red flag, and this is according to Trauma Mastery. It says that in cult environments, a charismatic and authoritative leader will control the life decisions of followers. High control and demand can appear in a number of ways. This can mean financial control. Members are required to give most, if not all, of their money, income, assets to the group. So that was something that I definitely saw within this group, this Twin Flames group documentary, was that they had a lot of these members come in initially. When they came in, these people had their own jobs, they had their own, everything. But at some point, they have them working for the actual organization, and then they're making money from the organization, which then in turn turns into them basically the money they're making in the organization, they're giving back to the organization. So at some point, they're not making any money at all. And they were actually moving towards where it was an online community. They were moving towards creating this whole like compound where people were going to come and actually live on this property together to keep pushing this movement forward. So again, red flag, red flag. Also, resources. Members may be expected to work without compensation. Like I just said, for the good of the group. Many cult members may still hold prominent positions outside of their cult environment. Every member is required to provide resources to the cult. Possessions. Members must also give up all possessions. So I definitely have watched, not with this particular organization, but in previous documentaries that I've watched, I have definitely seen where people join certain organizations, and then all of a sudden they tell them that they have to give their house to that organization, or they have to give their car to that organization, or they have to give their paychecks to that organization. And sometimes, I want y'all to know too, sometimes cults are not large in size. Sometimes we think about cults and we think about, oh, it's this huge group of people who are gathering together and they are doing strange things together. And sometimes a cult can be literally as small as 10 people. As long as there's somebody who is identifying as this charismatic leader and people who are blindly following, going against everything that they know to be right and true, that can be considered a cult. So some of us are, could be in situations right now that we wouldn't identify it as a cult, but if all of the signs are there, you might just want to be a little bit more mindful. And then also demanding attention. This is extremely dangerous because it isolates cult members from any other community they may have once had. So if you're part of something where they're demanding all of your time and attention to spend with the group without compensation, and you're constantly being pushed to recruit new members, that is something that you also may want to consider to be a cult, unfortunately. And again, as I've shared with other red flags that we talked about, this is not a one size fits all kind of thing. It's not all black and white and cut and dry. Some of these things will apply, some of them won't. If they don't, let them fly. You know what I mean? But this is just to really bring awareness to situations that people are finding themselves in that are causing them financial hardship, that are causing them mental and emotional distress, that are causing them to be separated from their families, that are causing them sometimes even commit suicide. So we want to be making sure that we are helping people to be aware of all of the things that are out here in the world that may potentially cause us harm. Okay? So red flag number 2 is outsiders questions are met with hostility, right? If somebody, tries to shine a light on the fact that something might not be right, or somebody just has a question about how things are run, and they are met with hostility, they are met with defensiveness, they can't get clear answers about the cult's practices and environment. If they are repeatedly just hearing the same response over and over again, almost like, something that's programmed into a person, they can't tell you anything outside of what they're telling you, it's a good chance that that person is in a cult. It is a good chance that, if that's you and you're dealing with that you could be a part of one. Also, fear mongering. People in the history of people have ruled and run people by fear, right? If you can get somebody to be afraid of the fact that they are going to, lose their life, or that their family is going to be destroyed, or whatever it is, right? Whatever or they're even going to be kicked out of a community. Sometimes that's a fear that people have. If people can get you to fear anything, then at some point they can have control over you, right? And so we want to be, again, mindful of those things. When people are constantly trying to cause you to be fearful of something, a lot of times we hear a lot about doomsday cults, right? Where people are telling people that, if you're not a part of this organization, or if you don't believe what I believe, then the world is going to end in 2023 and you are going to be destroyed with it, right? We hear about a lot of these different doomsday cults where people are, again, encouraging people to believe in what they believe out of fear. And if they don't believe it, then people, if they don't go along with it, then they are feeling like their life is going to be over. And so these, again, are signs of a cult. Also, isolation. Isolation is a big thing. We know this to be true even when it comes to domestic violence, right? When a person is trying to harm you, when a person is trying to control you, when a person is trying to control your life, your finances, your movements, they are typically going to isolate you from people who love you, right? And so that is something for us to make sure that we're also keeping in mind in our relationships and every circumstance, situation that we're in. We want to be mindful that if anybody is telling us that, they are the only person in the world who loves us, right? That nobody else cares for us, that they are the end all and be all for our lives. It's a good chance that that person does not have your best interest at heart. So it says if a leader that requires explicit devotion and separation from loved ones, it's a cult. The aim is for the cult's leadership to be the only form of support for its members, making it extremely difficult to leave. Think about that. Your only support. And again, like I mentioned, for domestic violence situations and things like that. If a person can get you in a situation where they have taken away your support, right? That there's no one else that you can call. In this particular documentary that I'm talking about, the Twin Flames documentary. Hey, Natalie. In Twin Flames documentary, one of the women mentioned the fact that she had cut off all of her family members. She had cut off her mom. She had cut off all of these different people in her life. And so the organization had encouraged her to keep pursuing somebody who was supposed to be her twin flame. And this person put out a restraining order against her. However, she continued to pursue this person because that's what they were telling her to do. And eventually she ended up at the same place at the same time with this person, and they were not playing any more games with her, and they called the police. She ended up getting arrested, and because she had cut off her family and her friends, she couldn't call anybody to come and bail her out. So again, that's the type of things that happens in these type of situations. Cult members may also harbor an us versus them mentality, where anyone outside the cult or religious group are lesser than and not to be associated with, and are actively discriminated against, right? It also says that if you are in this type of organization, it's like you're in or you're out type of situation. So once you're out, you are completely cut off from everybody who is in, which is also very, very heartbreaking. Again, I watch a lot of different documentaries about cults and different organizations that are run by keeping people controlled and in fear. And it's really sad to see when people are separated from their families as a result of, again, these beliefs that they become a part of, where actually in this particular documentary we're talking about today, a twin sister, now we're talking about twin flames, right? So she's looking for her twin flame, her soulmate, but she disconnected from her own twin sister to be a part of this organization, completely disconnected from that. And if you've heard anything about twins, we know that they have a connection unlike any other connection that most humans have. So how deep do you have to be into an organization to say you're never going to talk to your twin sister again, right? Again, we want to be mindful of these things because, like I said, people have an idea sometimes that they'll never find themselves in that. Nelson, there was a comment that came up. I want to read that because sometimes people find themselves, again, feeling like, oh, that would never happen to me until they find themselves in a situation. And so There was a comment that came up. Nellie Lewis said, "Woo, the crazy thing is I've experienced the red flags and cult." She said, "My old church equals a cult." Wow. Okay. So that's deep. Some of us really, she said, we are encouraged not to visit other churches. It was wild. You don't see it until you're out of it. Thank you so much for sharing that, Natalie. Again, and that's one of the things too that some people they have family members who are in cults. I think I want to say that if I'm not mistaken, and I don't want to be wrong, I feel like it was either I think it was Kenya or I think Mimi from one of the reality shows who mentioned that their mom was part of a cult. I can't remember which one of those reality stars mentioned that. So that's real. And again, this is a black woman I'm speaking about. Sometimes your family members will get into cults and you aren't able to get them out. And it's a really heartbreaking thing to experience when people separate themselves from you and there's literally nothing you can do because they're adults, right? And unless you can prove that they're going to be that they are in harm's way, authorities are not going to do anything to help them. So this is why we need to know about the red flags ahead of time. That way when we see one of our loved ones or ourselves in situations that seem like this is not right, we can be able to pull them aside and say, here are some red flags of this thing before they get too deep in. Because sometimes once a person gets too deep in, it's only once they can see it for themselves it's going to pull them out, right? And that's what we saw in this documentary that I just mentioned, that people had to get to a point where they were pushed so far beyond their limits before they said, you know what, no more. I can't do this anymore. Okay. So what I want to say is that our phone lines are back up now. Yay! Our phone lines are back up. So we're going to take a quick break. And when I come back from break, I want you all to light the phone lines up. Let's talk about any of these conversations that we talked about thus far. Okay. Write the number down 678-439-7419. We're going to take a quick break. This is 101 TKO Radio. This is the She Wins Radio Show. and this is the She Wins Show with your favorite coach, Andromeda. We are back, y'all. We've been having some really deep conversations today about these red flags. Listen, nobody is going to be able to pull the wool over our eyes at this point, right? We are prepared for all the things. If somebody want to come play in our face with cheating, if somebody want to come play in our face with scamming, if somebody want to try to play in our face and get us to join a cult, we will be armed and ready to go. So I have a caller on the line. I told y'all to get ready, and I have a caller on the line already. Caller, are you there? Caller, are you there? Caller, are you there? Uh-oh. Okay, no. Hey, Natalie, how are you? I am doing well today. So I know that we've been talking about a lot of things, and we can circle back around on anything that you want to circle back around on. Oh, goodness.
Is crazy. And yes, you're correct. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. You know, very much good people, successful people can be scammed, um, or be manipulated into thinking that the situation is something that it's not, which is what happens to me. Manipulation is real, and some people have learned how to master it to the point where it's like you you wouldn't even think that that person, because they're charmed or charisma or whatever, you wouldn't even think that they operate in that way. But that manipulation is something serious, and I think that's how people are taken advantage of. Just by people being, believers in young families and out here to get people.
Yeah.
So we gotta be careful, like you said. I love the tips that you shared because it's so easy to get wrapped up, especially as single ladies. You're like, oh, he's fine. He seems like a good guy. And then next thing you know, he don't, you don't gave him all your money, or he has you and 10 other women thinking the same thing. So it can be what it's pretty crazy out here. You gotta be more careful.
Yes, you are absolutely right. So I saw that you when you saw the topics come up today, you said you were definitely calling in. Which one of those topics was the one you was like, yeah, I gotta stick on this one?
It was definitely the red flag because sometimes we think, we see flags and we be like, oh, it's this flag, let me go for the ride, right? And it could be a number of different reasons, like you said, when you're by yourself, you're lonely, or you're tired of being by yourself, being single for a while. You have those moments, let's be real. But we gotta do better. When we see the red flags, we got now. I do better. You can't even get me like, oh, if it look orange, I don't want it.
No orange flags either.
If it's not green, I don't want it either. You know how people say, oh, at a yellow light, you're supposed to slow down, not stop. Now I'm gonna stop.
Yeah. Ooh, that's good. Sis said she's not playing. If it's not green, she's not going.
Right here, right now.
I know that's
some people think that that's mean, but I honestly think that's for protecting yourself. I think for a lot of women, I can only speak for myself, is sometimes we want to see the gold in people, and sometimes it's just not there. It's just not there, and we gotta be okay with that, and not try to make situations out to be what we want them to be instead of what they really are. No matter how bad.
Yes. That's so good. You said something. I appreciate you engaging with us on the YouTube channel as well. You said something about not being able to see it until you're out of it. That's saying hindsight is 2020 is so real.
It is. You look back and be like, what was I doing? Like, how did I get here?
Right.
You stop. Like, what happened? And think like, where did I miss it? Or what was I not paying attention to? And then for some of us, if we're honest, you saw it. You saw it. If that man had 5 kids and ain't dealing with none of them, big mamas on the good level, they all got me. Everybody ain't crazy. Everybody is not crazy. You gotta find out, okay, why is she drinking the real milk? What made her
Yes.
drink?
Yes.
Was it you?
Yes.
Because a lot of times you hear men say, oh, my ex is crazy, or she just want me back. A lot of times, nah, it's just something that he don't do.
Come on now, preach,
So
preacher.
we just gotta bet a little bit better. That's all. So don't rush. I know, for a lot of people, they clock is ticking. They want to have kids. They want to have family. They want to have babies. By this big age, I thought I would have had it all. But at the same time, I'm glad that I don't, because if I rather wait for it to be right than to have it in the
Yeah.
I'm on that.
That's good. And again, these are lessons that you learn, right? Sometimes you got to go through the hard things. You got to learn the hard way. But you take the lesson and then you just keep moving. Don't beat yourself up about it.
Yeah.
Don't beat yourself up about
Don't
it.
let shame take you over. Don't feel. You may feel shameful. You may feel like, oh, this is so. I was humiliated. You may feel like, why not fall? You might want to like beat yourself up a little bit, but like you said, take the lesson, learn from it. I do believe that everything happens for a reason, even the bad things that cause us to pain, because on the other side of that, now I can go and talk to someone else, and when they start telling me certain stuff, I'm like, girl, instead of run. Because let me tell you what had happened to me. That's what happened to me, and I ignored it. So I don't want to do that.
Yes.
So I believe no experience is wasted.
Yes. Oh, so good. And yes, we have to, ladies, we have to stick together. We have to share these red flags. We got to let each other know when we listen. When you see something that's not right, be willing to tell your sister, like, sis, that's a red flag. Don't just let your sister just go, like you said, on the ride. Don't let her take the ride. No, sis. You don't need to take the ride. Get off. Right. Uh-huh. Get off. Absolutely. Absolutely. Whew. You gotta finish. You gotta finish. No matter how loud you scream, you gotta finish that ride. No, you gotta. Until you get off. That's right. Then you gonna get off and be like, never again. Never again. So good. Thank you so much for calling in, Natalie. Definitely appreciate your thoughts and perspectives on these topics.
It was a great topic, great show. It's real out here. It's happening.
Yes. Oh, be sure to share. Be sure to share. We have another caller, Nelson? Okay, I thought we had another call come in. Yes, please be sure to share. Share the show with other women. Like Natalie says, we need to hear this stuff, so we need to be sharing it with one another. Thank you again, Natalie, for calling in.
You're welcome.
You too. All right. So you all, we have some more things to talk about. But in the meantime, because our phone lines were down earlier today for like a good bit of the show, I definitely want to open the lines up for us to talk. If you have anything to say or share about any of the things we talked about previously, from do all men cheat, to the cheating red flags, to the scam artist red flags, to the cult red flags, I definitely want you to call in. I want to hear from you, okay? 678-439-7419 is the number. And also be sure that you share this show. If you've been listening and it's been adding value to your life, if you've been entertained, if you laughed, if you've cried, if you whatever, make sure that you share that with other women. Make sure that you tune in with your sisters. All right, so let's get into surviving the holidays, right? We've been talking about surviving a lot of things lately, right? So let's talk about surviving the holidays, because the holidays can be a stressful time for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons, right? Mentally and emotionally and financially, the holidays can be a tough time. So I want to talk about ways to survive the holidays financially. There's a lot of pressure that I think a lot of people feel, whether it's parents, whether it is siblings, whether it is grandparents, whether it might even just be friends, feeling this pressure for you to outdo the gift you did last year, for you to purchase gifts to keep up with the Joneses, right? You want to make sure that your kid has the same stuff that all the other kids have. You want to make sure that your spouse is feeling loved and appreciated this holiday season. Whoever it is that you need to be purchasing gifts for, I just want to say this: we got to live within our means, and we have to be realistic with what we can and cannot do. Okay, do not allow this holiday season to put pressure on your pockets, additional pressure on your pockets, because as we mentioned already, right now the economy is not doing so hot. We hear people all the time talking about how inflation is really crushing them right now. So if you've been already feeling pressure with your finances, do not allow this holiday season to add additional pressure to you. Like, it's not worth it mentally, and it's not worth it financially as well. It's not that serious, right? I know that you see the commercials. I know that your kids are asking for things. I know that you see other parents going all out to do certain things, but you do not need to compare yourself to anybody else. You just need to do what is realistic for you and your household, okay? Because the most important thing is that every day, today and beyond the holidays, you can wake up and turn your lights on. You can wake up and have a roof over your house. You can wake up and be okay. Okay. So you don't want to be overdoing it on the holidays, and then now you got your child an iPad, but they can't charge it because there's no electricity. Like, that's not gonna work, right? So let's talk about some ways for you to survive the holidays. According to Nerd Wallet, there are 5 survival strategies that financial educators have shared. One of the first ones is to make a list and stick to it, right? Let's be honest with ourselves about what we can and cannot do. Make a list and stick to it. What is your budget, right? Write down what you actually have to spend on gifts, okay? And then, so this particular financial educator says, I know I'm going to be setting a budget so I don't suffer after the holidays. She makes a list of those things she needs to buy gifts for and assigns a spending cap for each person's gift. I love that. I absolutely love that. So write down your budget. What can you actually afford to spend on gifts? Then make a list of the people who you plan to purchase gifts for. And listen, do not be ashamed if that list has to be a little bit shorter this year, right? If you who have in the past been buying gifts for all your coworkers and all your associates and all your friends and all your family members, but it's just really not reasonable for you to do that this year, be okay with that list being shorter. You know what the best gift that you can give somebody this season? Love. Just love them. We need more love. Be kind, okay? Give them a call and let them know that you're thinking about them. That's a pretty good gift to give. That's a priceless gift, actually. Spending time with somebody is a priceless gift. So make a list of who you're going to purchase gifts for. Write down how much money you're going to spend on that person based on the budget that you have. And then if she says part of that strategy means limiting purchases to what she can comfortably afford out of savings instead of turning to credit card debt. Let's not go in debt this holiday season, okay? Let's not do that to ourselves. Christmas is one day out of the year. Thanksgiving is one day out of the year. Do not be suffering for the rest of the year because of the choices that you made. So we're going to talk about more about this when we come back from a quick music break. This is 101 TKO Radio, and this is the She Wins Show.
Olivia from Washington.
sis, hey, sis, hey. You are tuned into 101 TKO Radio, and this is the She Wins Show with your favorite coach, Andromeda. All right, y'all. So we are getting ready to wrap up this show, but before we do, I definitely want to continue to talk about how we can survive this holiday season. Okay. So another one of the tips from NerdWallet is to give and receive more creative gifts. Oh, before I say this too, if there's somebody who wanted to call in, you guys, the lines are back open. 678-439-7419. Give me a call now before the show ends at the top of the hour, okay? I definitely want to hear from you. All right, so give and receive more creative gifts, okay? So Jerry Graham, Atlanta-based co-founder of the website kindofrugal.com, mentioned to his brother that he would prefer a handmade gift this year. He is so talented in art and woodworking. I told him I would appreciate a cutting board or something. A DIY gift is more memorable and comes from the heart, he says. It can often save money too. So listen, you have a skill. Can you create something for someone? Do you have a gift or a talent that you can use in order to save money instead of going out into the mall or the streets to purchase a gift? Listen, it's the thought that counts. It's the thought that counts. Maybe using your gifts this year, using your DIY talents this year will help you to save money on gifts. So that's another option. And then think beyond the holiday season. I have a caller on the line. Caller, are you there? Caller, are you there? Caller, you have to turn your radio off or turn your radio down. She's behind. She's behind.
Yeah, she got time now.
Okay, there we go. Caller, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, we just needed you to turn your radio down so you can hear me clearly. Who's calling? Hi, Carolyn. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing well. So you've been listening into today's show, I assume. Okay, so what would you like to contribute to the conversation?
Well, I wanted to talk about the holidays, but the topic that you were speaking on earlier about the all um, I'm not gonna say all because I know all. No, I just haven't been presented with my king as of yet, but I know all the ones I had prior, they definitely were here.
Oh man,
But,
that's unfortunate to hear. Shame on them.
right, but it's their loss. It's all good.
I know that's right.
Yeah, so the holidays. Um, I have 3 children, and I was a single mother raising 3 kids, and I taught my kids like at that point that they were younger, like if I didn't have it, I didn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And I also taught them like what the true meaning of Christmas was, because I know sometimes a lot of people they do go into debt,
Mm-hmm.
trying to buy gifts for kids or for others,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really not necessary because like you were saying, okay, you paid all that, and then after the holidays is over, you're facing what your lights are off, or you might don't have money for a bill or something that you really needed.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely nothing wrong with giving because that's my love language. I love giving gifts,
Mm-hmm.
but one thing I just taught my kids at that time is, if I don't have it, like if they're wanting something like say, okay, something expensive,
Mm-hmm.
we could get something on your list, because I would allow them to make a list, and I would pick 2 things on their list, one that they knew about and one that they didn't know about.
Mm-hmm.
And then other things, that they did want on their list, I probably went back and got it later, like say, I did it for them like a New Year's gift or something like that. That's how I did back then. with my kids when I was in that position, back
Mm-hmm.
then. So,
Those are
that's
really
just how I handle things, at that time. My
those.
kids are adults now,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so, but that's how it was back then for me. And I was a single parent at the time with no help, and that's how I did things.
Those are really, really good tips, Carolyn. Like those are really, really good tips. And I love how you said that you communicated with your kids. Some people, some people are still letting their kids think that Santa's getting the gift, so then they're going to be mad at Santa when whatever they put on that list didn't show up under that tree. But I think that being able to communicate with them and let them know, like this is real life, right? Like sometimes mom does not have it, and it doesn't mean that you don't love them any
Right,
less. It just means that you don't have it. And like you said, you know, I think your children at the end of the day appreciated being able to come home and have food to eat and a roof over their head more than they would have appreciated getting that gift, right? So that is the blessing in that, having their family together in a warm and healthy home.
yes, they definitely did. They talk about it now. They do not have grandkids now, and
Hmm.
of course they're in positions now as well as I do get things, but we still like instill in the grandbaby because they know it out there too.
Hmm.
What the real meaning is, is we do still present them with gifts as well, but we did want to instill that in them early what the real meaning of Christmas was also.
Right, right. That's really, really important. I do appreciate you for calling in, Carolyn, and sharing those tips with us parents. I hope that you were listening and taking some notes. It is okay. You do not have to feel ashamed. You do not have to feel unnecessary pressure if you cannot make it happen. Because guess what? Like Carolyn said, maybe you can't get it for Christmas, but maybe you can get it for New Year's or their birthday. There's still time to honor your kids' wishes, but also in the midst of that, make them know what is most important. And it's not the materialistic things. It's not the gifts. It's the love of family and the love of God. Thank you so much, Carolyn, for calling in.
You're welcome. This is a great show.
Thank you so much. Have an awesome day. Okay, so let's continue talking about this. This was really, really great tips. Again, thank you again to Carolyn for calling in. Thank you, Natalie, for calling in. One of these really good tips they have here is start saving in January. I think that is so relevant. I tell my husband all the time when it comes to us having events that we know are every year kind of events, from our anniversary to my birthday to Valentine's Day to Christmas to Thanksgiving. Like that these events are coming around every year. So why not start setting aside money in January? That way you're not trying to feel so much pressure and trying to pull everything together at once. If we prepare earlier and we plan earlier, then things can come together so much easier and smoother for us when that specific special day comes, right? So listen, we're coming into a new year. We are starting a new year. So maybe if we didn't do things as well as we would have liked to do them this year, if we didn't plan as well as we would have liked to have planned this year, 2024 is right around the corner. This is an awesome time to get a fresh start and to start implementing healthy habits right now, habits that are going to help you to, again, live life more smoothly, to do more of what you want to do, to be able to have less stress and frustration whenever you do have things that are coming up in your life, right? So go ahead and there's a lot of different systems you can put in place. But one of the things that I really love is having like some envelopes, right? Maybe you need to, before 2024 hits, go ahead and get some envelopes and write on the outside of one of them Christmas, and on the outside of another one Thanksgiving, and on the outside of another one your birthday, and on the outside of another one whatever specific events that you know you are going to be participating in 2024. Go ahead and set aside money, start setting aside money for those things right now. You'll be surprised how much money you can save by just setting aside a $5 a week, $10 a week, $20 a week. You will be surprised how that adds up. And again, that way, when the day comes, the time comes for you to really plan and prepare, you're not trying to have to pull money from from a stretched position, right? So I definitely want us to keep in mind of those things. Prepare, right? Prepare and plan so you're not stressed. And then the last thing I want to share for us today is sowing season. I mentioned at the top of the show, this time of year is my sowing season. I really am very intentional about sowing seeds. giving back to others, giving back to my community. One of the things that I'm going to be doing this weekend actually is participating in a turkey drive with Impala Nation, 101 TKO radio team. We are donating turkeys to the community. We are going to go out into the community and give to those who are in need of some additional assistance. So I absolutely love community service activities. I love any opportunity that I get to give back to those who are less fortunate, those that are in need, those that don't have, as much as I may have. That might look like giving my time. That might look like giving money. That might look like share, being able to share my gifts, whatever it may be. So here's a list of a few things that you can do this season in order to sow some seeds and prepare to reap an abundant harvest in 2024. One is donate unwanted items to charity. Okay. So many of us have stuff, piling up from in our garages, inside the closets, under our beds, right? So many of us have things that we have packed away somewhere that we have not used, touched, looked at, smelled all year long. Why do you still have it, sis? Go ahead and get rid of it. Declutter your home. Make space. Get rid of the old to make room for the new, and donate your unwanted items, your gently used and unwanted items, to places like the Goodwill, to places like the Salvation Army, to shelters and things like that. Also, volunteer. Again, I shared that I'm going to be participating in an event. We're going to be giving away turkeys. Find opportunities to volunteer in your community. Help the homeless, as well as you can support animal rescue centers. And there's just pick up litter, right? That's even a big one. There's a numerous amount of opportunities that you have in order to give back, to sow seeds. Definitely, I want to say that this time of year this particular year has been very difficult for small business owners and entrepreneurs. Okay, the money has just been looking funny for a lot of people. If there's a small business that you love, that you value, that you support, if there's a female or any entrepreneur actually that you see that they're working hard, and you have a couple of dollars to spend to just purchase one of their products, or to even just share their products and services online, please do support these small businesses to help them get over this difficult financial time that a lot of us are experiencing. Okay, a little can go a long way, and sometimes just somebody knowing that you see them and you're encouraging them can really, really help them. All right, so this is the She Wins radio show. Again, I thank you so much for tuning in with us today. Make sure that you tune in every Tuesday and Thursday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Make sure that you share the She Wins radio show with anybody who you think needs to listen to this show. Make sure that you visit SheWinsSociety.com and learn about all the things that we are doing to unite and empower women and make an impact in current and future generations. And I appreciate you all again for tuning in. Until next time, keep growing, keep glowing, keep winning. This is Coach Andromeda, and this is the She Wins radio show on 101 TKO Radio. Talk to you later.